Before we get to the latest 7-round mock draft I've done for the Dallas Cowboys on the PFF Sim, if you want a mock draft with trades, help me out by sharing today's video on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Want to make sure this is what you guys want. Now, with Brian Schottenheimer hired, it's time for a new Cowboys mock draft. I've got no trades in this one. We will do one with trades at some point in the not too distant future. It's just the Dallas Cowboys picks. I do want to make note. I've got 3 top 150 picks, or near 150 picks. I cannot fill all of the Cowboys' needs. I can fill needs, really, with my first 3 selections. Everything else is just like, okay, let's see what depth, upside, rotational players I can find a way to get. It's those first 3 picks that matter the most. They're the most impactful ones. So I ran the PFF Sim. These are the round 1 picks. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Tet McMillan, Mason Graham. Off the board, first 5 picks. Plausible, feasible, nothing overly surprising there. Rest of the way, Shedeur Sanders goes 6 to the Raiders. Will Campbell goes 7 to the Jets. Will Johnson to the Panthers. Malachi Starks to the Saints. Luther Burden off the board to the Bears at 10. Josh Simmons off the board to the Niners, so a little bit surprising there. And in our last mock draft, I told you guys we would do a mock draft at some point that features Ashton Jeanty in round 1. And that's what we got today. He's the best player on my board in this scenario. So if he does get to you at 12, fingers crossed you filled other needs in free agency, you're adding the best player on your board. That's not a bad thing, as long as you fill other big needs. My biggest concern for Jeanty, frankly, is the workload. He had 750 carries this past season. That is a lot. That is a lot of touches for one player to have at the collegiate level. But he is an incredible contact balance runner who is by no means slow. This is an awesome, obvious top 5 talent in the class. You're getting the best player on the board in round 1 with this selection. Others who were there that I went, okay, I'll think about. Mike Green and Shamar Stewart. Green is an upside athletic edge rusher. I like him. I think he's going to be a top 15 player for me. Shamar Stewart's going to give me anxiety. He is a gifted athlete. He does not have any production. I almost wonder if he's a 3 technique for Dallas in the mold of a DeForest Buckner. That I was actually very tempted to do there. Emeka Ibuka was there if you wanted a receiver. Tyler Warren was there. And one of my guys, Janae Barron out of Texas. If Jeanty's gone, there's a chance that I'm very high on Barron, barring some surprise combine testing. Chance he's going to be a top 10 player on my board once I stack it, which I didn't think was going to be the case, but I just think he's really, really good, and I'm just going to go with my gut on that one. So do you want to draft Ashton Jeanty in round 1? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's video. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there. Y for yes, N for no. Other notable picks here. Jahad Campbell off the board, 1 spot before you to the 49ers. JTT, Elike Omenor, TJ Sanders, Walter Nolan would have been a great pick in round 2. Don't love him in round 1, but round 2, I'm all for it. Princely Uman Nielen at number 37 overall. Whether or not you retain Osa Odighizuwa or not, I do think defensive line is a pretty big priority for this team. So Tyleik Williams is there at 44. He's the best available defensive tackle left on the board and part of a loaded DT class. I think you can find somebody good in the first 3 rounds. It is a strong crop of players in this year's class. Now, Williams as a pass rusher, I think, does have some room to grow. I think he's at his best as a run stopper, but I think he can still offer some pocket push. And even if you're banking on a Mozzie Smith breakout, I need to invest more in my defensive line. So I'm treating this as I re-signed Osa or signed a starting 3 technique and added Williams to my rotation, and I feel a lot better about that group. Others who are on the board, I really thought about Savion Williams out of TCU. That is a very fun football player. If you want to sit a right tackle for a year, Cam Williams could make some sense. I'll mention the backs that were here because I think it's worth comparing. Could have had Caleb Johnson if you passed on Jeanty, by the way, in round 1. Carson Schwetzinger is a very good linebacker from UCLA. As of right now, I don't have the luxury to take Xavier Watson round 2, but I am a large fan of his game. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It's available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. And with the big game around the corner, it is the best time and the last time to get in on the action. Take advantage of their free square. It is the Patrick Mahomes, more than a half passing yard. Pains me, but I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley, more than rushing yards. And Xavier Worthy, I like this one, more than 5.5 yards on the ground. Would anyone be surprised if they got if Andy Reid called up the old Xavier Worthy reverse? I would not. So go download the Prize Picks app today over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Notable third-round picks. Raiders took Ozzie Pillow, Crazy Train out of Boston College, 68. I like Jalen Royals. Would have liked him at 69. So be it. 2 tight ends, Elijah Arroyo and Gunnar Helm, if you want to go down that route. Jalen Milroe was the pick by the Niners, which doesn't make any sense because it's just taking Trey Lance all over again. But in the third, I thought that one was pretty strange. Did leave Tre Harris, the receiver out of Ole Miss, for me in the third round. I don't think the Cowboys have an actual true X receiver. Someone that can operate on the outside, can push the ball down, you get the ball downfield some, can make some big plays. I loved what I saw from Tre Harris. In 8 games this year, he had 1,000 yards. At Ole Miss, he averaged well over 17 yards per catch. Offers some big playability. Isn't the most fluid, athletic freak, but I don't think he's slow either. I think as an outside possession receiver who I don't want to have another 4 or 5 guy, but I think he offers you more downfield than some of your other guys have. I think that's a very intriguing option. Others who are on the board, if you want the speedy guy, Isaiah Bond, you can. I was a bit worried about the way he finished the year, so that's kind of traumatizing for me. Charles Grant is an intriguing offensive lineman, by the way. Travion Henderson out of Ohio State, the running back. Again, you could have had him in the third in this scenario. Then some defensive guys, Josiah Stewart, Andrew Makuba, were some of the better players on the board. Let's get to the 5th round. And I was surprised when Emery Jones was there for me in this PFF mock draft sim. But I'll take him. Right tackle for LSU. He had a bad year. There's no way around it. Jones did not perform the way that I think anyone thought he was going to. This was a player who had legitimate round 1 buzz going in to this year's NFL draft cycle, and he just didn't perform the way he needed to. His pressures, his hurry numbers, they all went up significantly, which, raises very real concerns on that front. But as a right tackle who, maybe he kicks inside to guard, that's a possibility. I do want to mention him. He wasn't nearly as good. He had a rough game against USC and kind of, I argue, never really recovered, so to speak. 1 hit, 1 sack, 4 hits, 23 hurries. Last year was 2 sacks, 1 hit, 15 hurries. He regressed from 2023, but on day 3 with 34-inch arms, yeah, I'll try him. And he's also young. He doesn't turn 21 until March or something, somewhere in that range. So that one certainly stands out as a good value pick there in the 3rd round for the Dallas Cowboys. That's Emery Jones there out of LSU. Now, if you want more free Cowboys YouTube videos, you have come to the right spot. Hit that sub button. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. All right, round 5, pick 170. Quincy Riley, the cornerback out of Louisville. He is an underrated corner who, again, I thought had a better 2023 campaign, but has consistently found ways to get his hands on the football. It was a down year, 10 games played, 2 interceptions, the lowest of his past 4 years. He's put up 12 picks over 4 seasons. I like this kid. Of a frankly not very good cornerback crop that went all the way through the Senior Bowl, I thought Riley was probably one of the better ones down there. I am intrigued by him a lot on day 3. Plus, you need cornerback depth. Round 5, 2 picks later, Aeneas Peebles out of Virginia Tech. This is an undersized 3 technique who can get after the QB, is one of my preferred day 3 sleepers. Began his career at Duke, then made his way over to the Virginia Tech Hokies. I like him. This is, again, I think a number 4 defensive lineman for you early on who can, get in theory, I've been able to retain or sign someone similar-ish behind Osa Odigizua. Peebles is not very big. He kind of has, frankly, in Osa build. He's listed like at 6'1", 6'2", 290, somewhere in that ballpark. But there have been plenty of pressure opportunities. He had 31 pressures this year for Virginia Tech. That's a lot for an interior defensive lineman. One of the higher, pass rush win rates in college football as a 3 technique. Round 5, how about Jay Higgins, the Iowa linebacker? I'm thinking day 3 linebacker can be a rotation piece if you need him to be, can help on special teams, and can, be a better version than maybe Damone Clark has been for you as of late. A lot of tackles for him. I think he mostly holds up pretty well in coverage, too. Had 3 interceptions this year, by the way. I'm a little surprised he's always in the 5th round in some of these sims. I might have him a little bit higher on my board when it's all said and done. Let's get weird with the last 2 picks. How about a backup quarterback? Max Brosmer, the quarterback from Minnesota, who I might just call Max Bro because it's funnier that way. Look, it is a bad quarterback class. He had more success, though, this past year at Minnesota for transferring from, I'm pretty sure it was New Hampshire, by the way. And, again, it is a down QB class. But in late day 3, I am down to try. I am down to try to find someone to groom and develop and become a backup quarterback for me. There's not a ton of mobility, but I think in what the Cowboys offense is going to be, he could actually be a decent fit. Now, if you don't want to go QB, I get it. Also, Jackson Dart was here in the sim, and that was just ridiculous, so I did not take him because he's not going to get to the 6th round. Would you draft a QB this year? 1 for yes, 0 for no. And would anyone be surprised if the Cowboys spent their final pick on Shiloh Sanders? Would anyone in the world be surprised by that if they took Deion's kid? I think if he goes undrafted too, he's a Cowboy. I think he's a Cowboy no matter what, by the way. His best year was back in 2021 with Jackson State. I don't think he's a starter in the NFL. I think he's a special team or backup guy, but it would not surprise me because of everything about the Jones boys with that one. So to recap, Ashton Jeanty, round 1. Tyleik Williams, round 2. Tre Harris, round 3. Emery Jones, round 5. Quincy Riley, also in round 5. Aeneas Peebles, Jay Higgins with some of those count picks. Max Brosmer out of Minnesota. And Shiloh Sanders in the 7th round because it's the Cowboys, right? So grade the mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments of today's show.